You're listening to the weather report at Meeple to Meeple, where I could tell you today the weather is a high of 51, and I've been outside doing yard work all day. So I'm really excited to have you. Welcome to episode 172 of Meeple to Meeple. Thanks, guys, for listening. You know, it always warms my heart when you get to sit with someone who looked at this blank table and thought, you know what this needs? Adventure, a quest, and probably an exorbitant amount of cardboard. Well, today I'm joined with Leon, designer behind Questiny, an upcoming Kickstarter that promises big choices, bold journeys, and at least one moment where you dramatically stare at your friends and say, this changes everything. Leon's here to talk about the road from his idea to prototype, from prototype to Kickstarter, and all the heroic and possibly chaotic decisions in between. So grab your dice, shuffle your deck, and prepare your best. I totally planned that face because we're diving into Questiny. So, Leon, what is your Questiny?
Whoa. Firstly, thank you for having me here. And
Absolutely.
that was an incredible, incredible intro. I need to write all of that down and put that out there. But what is my questioning? Well, in life,
Yeah.
yeah, to create, to play, to share, and journey both outwards and inwards.
I love that. I'm reaching for the notebook right now because that was really good.
You take notes on what I say, I'll take notes on what you say,
You
and
got it.
together we both get all the takeaways from this.
I love it. So
Yeah,
it was to create,
yeah,
to
to
and
play, to
play,
share,
to share,
and to journey forth, both
journey forth.
outwards and inwards.
I love it.
Because it's
That's
all about that
great.
balance, right? It's
It
like,
is.
we've got two very big, deep, different worlds going on at the same time, one external and another one internal. So trying to balance both those worlds can be tough. And if you can get that sweet spot as well, it can also be amazing.
Preach the gospel, brother Leon. Preach.
Harder these days, though. I think it's fair to say, because the external world is wild. So
Yes.
even more important to try and also find that,
Yeah.
not to completely run away internally, but I think a little bit of healthy escapism right now
Yeah.
is also good.
Hey, so let me ask you this. When you were a kid, what board game did you use to escape?
So I've got it. This was the kind of the first one that really captured my attention.
Whoa.
Ghost Castle. I don't know if you
Ghost
can.
Castle. I
Yeah,
could
I
see
don't know
it.
if you can.
Yep.
You can see it, right?
Yep.
That one, because I've played a few other games. Like we used to play a lot of Frustration, where you go
Yeah.
around the board, you have to press the thing in the middle, and they were all quite stressful. And so I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure really how I felt about that. But then that one came along, and I was like, "What is this?" First of all, just the experience of it being like a 3D multi-layered castle that you can move around with traps and moving stuff. I was just like, wow, that really captured my attention and imagination, because instantly it's like, it's not just like rolling dice, moving around. It's like I'm stepping into something. I'm stepping into a world. I'm stepping into this castle as well. So yeah, that was a big one for me as a kid, for sure.
That's wild. Ghost Castle. And,
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. I don't think I've seen it before. I don't think I've ever heard of it. So,
I think it was like definitely 90s, like mid 90s kind of, probably. When that the time where there were a lot of physical games like Mousetrap, all that kind of stuff, where you're actually building something physical as well. I just found that really fun. It's kind of like, it is like a toy meets board
yeah.
game,
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that is exciting. It's tactile, it's fun. You do want to play with it. You're like, what happens if I move this? What happens if I push that? So that was something that definitely stuck with me, for sure.
Yeah. I think you've given me an idea for a future episode. Like, I would love to do one on the history of 3D board games.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because
That would be awesome.
Mousetrap, Ghost
Yeah.
Castle, I'm thinking of Return to Dark Tower, either the
Yes.
old or the current version. Holly got its three-dimensional board.
Yeah.
And there's that would be cool.
There's one as well.
Burgle Brothers? Is it Burgle Brothers where you're, like, doing a robbery in a bank and
I've
it's, like,
heard about that one.
multi-tiered or s
Yeah. Yeah.
so that would be cool. That is my
There's
Questiny.
yes. There we go. See, we got there. We got there in record time.
Yeah, there it is.
There's a game here, also almost in reaching. I mean, it is in reaching, but it's covered in stuff. But it's called Dark World, and that one also has a really great like CD kind of build. It's a bit of a, it's like a Hero Quest kind of vibe.
Yeah, sure.
I
Yeah.
haven't actually played it. It's on my shelf of shame. But the interesting thing about that one was someone sent me the video, the actual trailer for that, which again was like, I think it was like 94 when it came out. So they were like, I don't know if you've thought about the trailer for Questiny yet, but it should look like this because this is like definitely the vibe. First of all, the trailer was sick. I was like, oh my God, yes, this is completely what I already had in mind. But secondly, I was like, what is this game? I want to know more about this game. So the trailer worked as well. Jumped straight on eBay and managed to pick up a copy. And so far, it's just been sitting there staring at me. But it does look sick because again, it's got like this. You sort of build a tower up the back, and you've got like dungeon walls and these little doors that like spin
Yeah.
round and rotate. It's really cool.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
So next time I'm in England, which hopefully will be next year,
let's
we're
do
gonna have
it.
to meet up. That's
Let's
gonna be a
do
date.
it.
We're gonna play that dark.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah. Hell
that's
yeah.
gonna be cool. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Hey, so what was the first game that got you into the modern hobby?
Mm, mm. Good question. Simple one, actually. Pandemic.
Okay.
When I was, like I said, when I was younger, like that, Ghost Castle really captured my imagination. But I found the playing of board games actually kind of stressful as a kid. I remember being quite stressed out by them. And which makes sense now because a lot of those games back then were often competitive games. There weren't as many like co-op games around. As an adult, well, I've always kind of like, oh, I was watching games from afar, just like always interested still in the concept of it. But Pandemic was the first one that I was like, oh, there's another way. There's a whole nother way to
Yeah,
play
yeah.
this. And this feels really good. Like this is a shared experience where there's no yeah, there's no backstabbing, there's no trying to screw each other over. It's just like, right, this game's gonna screw us over
Yes.
relentlessly. So let's do everything we can together
Yeah.
to see if we can beat that game. So that really, yeah, that had a big effect on me. That completely opened the door again and got me back into modern board games, if you
Gaming,
will.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So so what was the very first spark of inspiration behind Questiny, right?
Ooh.
Like, this might actually be something. Like,
Mm,
what was that moment and what inspired you?
mm. So I guess that's kind of a let's break that down into two
Sure.
questions. The first one being where did the inspiration come from initially? And actually, similar to okay, so there's two things actually, because there was something that kind of like lodged its way in there. When I was at school, I was at high school. It was my final year. I was studying art and design, and we were given a project. We were given a choice of our final project. We could either do like design a building, like an architecture thing. We could design a logo, or we could design a board game. And I stupidly picked the building, the architecture. And honestly, it really haunted me. Seriously, because I was like watching my friends have this great time designing board games, and I was like, man, why did I? Yeah, so that feeling of like, why didn't I stuck around? And I guess kind of like buried itself because it didn't necessarily come back until the plague, the great plague of our time.
Right.
when I was kind of, as many people were, especially creatives, just left scrabbling around with a lot of time on my hands. Because up until then, I've been a performer. So I've been putting on shows, performing all over the place. So literally for me, it was like, done. Everything's done. It's just you and the four walls. Like, what do you do now for the next bit of time? So that was kind of when I was like, I want to play a board game. But then suddenly I had that creative, I think it just came back. Like it just, that feeling, I was just like, oh, I think this is it. I think this is the time. I think this is the time to do the thing. And just, so that was really fun. And when I was a kid, I really loved to just make stuff. I was always like making stuff out of, like I used to watch Art Attack, making all these 3D models and stuff. So I just got straight into it. I just got a bunch of cardboard together, a bunch of pens, sellotape, scissors, and just bang, started making some initial sketches and just went for it and had the best time. It was so fun, especially in that really early stage where anything is possible.
Right.
And actually, I'll go on a slight little tangent then before we get to the second part of when was the first moment that I really thought like, aha, we have something here. Because the very first picture that I drew of the map, it was originally going to be one big map that you had to go into 4 different areas,
Okay.
complete a mission and bring it back to the center. And then there'll be some sort of culminating moment at the end. But I very quickly realized, yeah, each one of these, I think, is a game. Like there's a whole realm in each of these areas that needs exploring. So I kind of switched gears straight away. And the first one was actually the very first version of it was actually a pirate version where you had to navigate across the sea. You got these boats, and I'd actually built this ship, like like a 3D ship, and I made these little like catapults that you actually fired bolts at this ship, and you had to try and knock the cannons down and like do it do it damage, which was really fun. I was just like but I was already kind of like, how would you make that? Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe that's because also it was like, you've got to put that thing somewhere, and you're going to be shooting bolts, and you're going to lose the bolts, and so there was a bit of a technical kind of like, maybe not. And then I just started playing. I was just playing around with loads of ideas, and eventually I came up with the what is now the labyrinth section in Questiny. So the idea of moving parts on the board, which can change the direction, and create a bit of a kind of maze that you have to navigate. And that, I think, that was the first moment actually when I was like, ooh, that feels really interesting. There's something in that. And then I just kind of ran with it from there. But I think that was that first moment of like, yeah, that feels interesting. Yeah, so that was the first point of like, huh. And then I suppose to just kind of tag a little bit more into that was when I started playing it with people, because initially this was something I was doing for fun, man. Like I was
Right.
not gonna make this into a product, or I wasn't thinking about it like that. It was just a bit of fun. And when I started to play it with friends and family, the people loved it, man. Like straight away, straight
Right.
away. So it was like, and they were the ones that were like, this could this could be a thing. Maybe you should
Yeah.
give this a go. And I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, a whole new industry. Let's do this.
I
Yeah.
love that. So, if you guys have been watching, a couple weeks ago, I had Ruel Gaviola on, and one of his biggest piece of advice was to just say yes, just like you did, right? It's like,
Yeah.
just say yes to it, and it
Yeah.
really changes your world. It's
100%,
like,
man.
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Well, there was
So,
around, sorry,
yeah, go ahead.
just to
No,
tag
no,
on to that, because around that same time, I also watched a documentary on Netflix called High Score, which is about a bunch of video game designers,
yeah,
about some of the most famous video games that have ever been. And I just found that super inspiring as well, to see these people that you probably didn't know who these people were, or like,
right.
unless you, but to just see them and hear their story of just like, they're just normal people. They had an idea, they gave it a try, they stuck it out, and it was like, damn, that is inspiring. So all of those moments kind of came together at that time to just push me, just
Yeah.
go. Why not?
Do it. Do
Yeah,
it.
do it. Do it.
Yeah. So, what's one mechanic in the game that you are really proud of? You're just so happy that it came out perfectly.
That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I would say off the top of my head, because I was saying before about the cooperative, like I really wanted to try and like, okay, how do we make the most of this? How do we always make this feel like we can help each other out? And as any good D&D players know, you should always think very carefully about splitting the party, right?
Mhm.
Not always the best idea, but in the in the terms of this board game, it's like, wow, you can't just all move around as one unit. That's kind of like, you want to spread out. So I was like, how can we help each other when we're far away across the board? So I basically came up with this idea of creating these 3 points. There's 3 points on the board, central, down the middle, which are called trade portals. So basically, if you're carrying any kind of equipment, resources, you can step into one of those and you can send stuff to other players across the board. And it was really fascinating to watch that actually play out and see how much just that little thing really added to the gameplay, because then you could help each other out. It'd be like, okay, you're all the way over there, but okay, what can I get that I can help you even if I'm all the way back here? So that was a real fun one to see that play out. Yeah.
Okay, so on the flip side, is there a mechanic that just didn't work and it gave you fits or headaches?
I feel like there should be loads. Maybe this is a good sign. Or I've buried them so deep that they can never be dug up again. I don't think there's anything I really remember like completely losing sleep over or getting super stuck with, to be completely honest. I guess mostly it's been just about just generally balancing things. Because there are dice in the game, so of course anytime you're using dice, they can be a bit swingy. You might have a game that things go your way or a bit more often, and you might have a game where things don't. So that was a bit of a headache to kind of try to mitigate that and work with that as much as possible. But no, generally speaking, I wouldn't say any huge headaches. I'll probably, of course, wake up in the middle of the night now, and maybe for the rest of time, when the trauma slowly reveals itself, and I'm like, how did I miss that? This thing again.
Well, how about the whole project? Was there ever a moment where you were like, okay, this is fun, but it's not like once you decided, you said yes, you're going to try and make this a real game. It's no longer just fun for you. And you were like, I bit off way too much. This is not going to work.
Mm.
Was there a moment like that for you? And how did you push through it and keep going?
I'm going to be completely honest right now, because that's what we're here for. I'm
That's
going to
it.
say I feel like that all the time. Like,
Okay.
yeah, there's often moments where I'm just like, wow, this is a lot, man. Because like, apart from working with the artists, and apart from occasionally I have a part of a great design group, the Board Game Prototype Collective, which I was really lucky to get introduced to through Instagram. And that's been a real big help because it's just a bunch of designers that you can speak to. But apart from that, it's solo, man. It's all me. So you're trying to spin so many plates and wear so many hats that can feel a little bit overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
You're kind of like,
So So what do you do when you get to that point? Like what I know you talked about the design prototype group,
mm, mm.
but like you're sitting by yourself, right? Like what do you do? You're in that moment and you're like, I'm ready to just give it up. Like,
Well, sometimes, as much as possible, take a break. Like that's the big one, because when you get to those moments, that's usually a sign, in somewhere in the body. Your body's like, dude, too far, too much. We need to step out for a little bit, and that's totally fine. And so taking that time, I mean, I say it's fine. Also, it's hard when you're trying to work to your own schedules and deadlines or whatever. Because anyone that's ever done anything kind of creative or has been self-employed will know you're your own boss, man. And
Yeah.
you have to be, well, you're your own team. So you have to be like the nice colleague that's always joking around and keeping you up. And then you also have to be your asshole boss that's like, dude, what are you doing? Get
Right.
back to work. So
Right.
trying to find that middle ground is tough, but I would say, yeah, recognizing those moments when it is too much and just taking a breather. I've also found it really helpful now I've got 4 other games that I've developed, and I had this guilt for a while about those of like, oh, this is, I should be putting all of my time into this. Why, I should, I, yeah, like I'm carrying around this big dirty secret or like I'm cheating on Questiny. But eventually, I found out that that really helps sometimes as well, because you just concentrate on something else especially when you hit those moments where you are kind of like, I'm stuck, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
switching gears, working on something else can really help, because then you realize that all of those different creations are kind of inspiring each other and helping each other, because you're like, oh, now I've solved something in this that gives me an idea for that one. And, you know,
Yeah.
and as we all know, distance makes the heart grow fonder. So, a little bit of distance goes a long way sometimes. But
But
yeah, it
not
is
too much, not too much
not
distance.
too much. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And the other thing, of course, would be keeping good routines. I'm pretty active with keeping a good, healthy routine of exercise. I do my meditation. I eat pretty well. So those things also help a lot. Drink a lot of water.
Mhm.
I promise.
Yes, there he goes.
There he goes.
So, aside from you had mentioned once you started playing the game with friends and family, that's when there was like, "I'm not gonna do this for fun. I'm gonna publish this and make it a real game." What, or rather, how has playtesting changed the game itself over time from your original vision?
Oh man, playtesting. Well, interesting. The original vision, especially for Questiny as it exists, has kind of stayed fairly similar. But along the way, playtesting was everything, man. Like
Yeah.
playtesting was so good and so nerve-wracking as well. Like there is a big difference between, and again, every creative has faced this, where it's like, yeah, sure, your friends and family, are going to tell you one thing. You put it in front of a complete stranger, they'll tell you other stuff. So it's
Yes,
a
they
big,
will.
yes, they will. Well, I suppose actually it depends on your friends and family.
Okay.
Sometimes they can be fairly brutal as well, but they mean it well. I think that's the difference. When it's out there in the real world, and someone doesn't have to care about it, they might not be quite so constructive with their feedback. So the playtesting was huge. It's getting slightly better now, but I always still just have that moment whenever I'm doing a demo or sitting with a group of people that haven't played it. I'm always like, oh my God, what if they hate this? Like every,
Yeah.
every,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many people play it and love it. But I've also got better at, and maybe we're going in a slightly different direction there. So I'll kind of cap that for now. But like, getting better at understanding what is something that's like inherently maybe not working in a game, and what is personal taste, which is a big thing that sometimes is difficult to see the difference there. Where were we? I derailed myself.
No, that's okay because you're rolling into my next question,
Oh,
and I
perfect.
asked this question of all my designers, right? Is during the playtest process, how easy or how difficult was it for you to be vulnerable and open yourself up, and Questiny for that matter, to both constructive and destructive criticism?
Mm, that's where we were, and that's a great question.
Yeah,
I
because I
think
think vulnerability is really the key, right? To
100%.
and how so I'm how was how easy was it for you in the beginning?
I remember being excited about putting it in front of people and excited to kind of, because essentially, in a way, there's two ways of looking at playtesting, right? It's like you're you're kind of just putting on a chopping block and going, go at it.
Yeah.
Or you're also kind of inviting people in to say, like, what do you like? Let's collaborate on this. What do you think? And maybe there's something there that we can kind of solve together. So I was open to it from that angle of like, this is, yeah, this could be exciting. This could be like, what good ideas could come out of this? But obviously, absolutely, crapping my pants about people completely going at it with a hatchet as well. So I would say somewhere in the middle. And I'm trying to think now, I think the very first play tests I did publicly, I took it to a local convention and set up in the playtest zone there. And luckily it's, I've been really lucky, or maybe it's the design of the game, who knows, but it's never been like completely brutalized. There's never been a time where someone's just gone, no, like, I hate this, or like, why the hell did you do that? This doesn't work whatsoever. The feedback's always been, people have always enjoyed it. They've always enjoyed the experience of it. And then people have come up with really great ideas, and a lot of those made it into the game. So like, I'll hold my hands up and say thank you so much to the people that have play tested, that have reviewed and have given those ideas, because yeah, some great ideas came out of play testing. So I think it's really important to be vulnerable for sure. And I guess also because you're like, this is a new industry, it's not something that I just changed gears. So I think in some ways that also helped, because it was like, well, helped and hindered in the way that I was like, of course I don't know what I'm talking about, you know? So I'm ready. I'm ready. So, but it did prepare me for that. It did make me think, well, yeah, of course people are going to have some feedback, and they're going to have see things that I hadn't considered before.
Sure.
So the whole experience was and continues to be like great, great on the whole.
So, what is your one piece of advice to playtesters, right? Like, what can playtesters do to help you to make a better game?
Well, that's a really, really good question. I think off the top of my head, I would say like take notes, because sometimes people try to feedback in real time, and it can not only kind of disrupt the flow of the actual playing experience, but it could also be like, it might be something that will be resolved. It's like, if you're just thinking out loud or just kind of, whereas afterwards you can kind of like see the whole thing played out, and then you can kind of look back and go, either I thought that earlier on, but now I see why that's the thing, so we're not going to go there. Or you can just say, oh, actually, yeah, there was a point that this was there and this was there. So that, I think, would be really helpful, yeah,
Yeah.
to receive.
So that is some really great advice that I have not heard before, but you will be happy to know I have a notebook specifically for my playtesting notes when I'm playtesting a game.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a little journal that I found, I think it was on Etsy or something. Someone was making journals, they were taking old boards from board games from the 1980s, uh, and they cut them up, so, like, the front and the back, and it's like the old Axis and Allies from Milton Bradley, and I was like, and I used to play that tons, and I'm like, "This is perfect because I can use that. That way I can use that is only my notes for playtesting." And I
Love it.
do. I try to take notes, and I try to listen to, for me as a playtester, I try to listen to the terms and vocabulary you use in your game, so that when we're done playing and I give you feedback, I can be like, I can talk about the integration phase or phase 2 or whatever you
Mhm.
use. That way I know what I'm talking about in terms of. So keep a notebook, guys.
That's like
Yeah.
15 out of 10. Amazing, amazing work. I can now imagine the flip side of that when someone's just like taking notes the whole time, and you're like, "Oh, I'm in trouble. They've written a short novel."
I will admit, when I'm taking notes during a playtest, I always look at the designer to see if they see that I'm taking notes and if there's
Yeah,
like sweat coming from their brow or if they're smiling. And I'm like, okay, it lets me know how vulnerable they're willing to be and receive my
yeah,
feedback because as a fellow creative, I understand the importance of creative and constructive feedback. I
mm.
don't need to, I don't need to tell you, oh, your game's great, but boy, this, yeah, whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it
Yeah.
that you're just like you're probably just in there like just scribbling. It's just scribbles, but you're just sweating
Right.
them out, you know? You're just saying ha 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 ha.
Okay. You're giving me way too much credit. I'm not that manipulative.
And
So,
that's I think that's a good thing.
yeah.
I think that's definitely a good thing.
So let's get to the core of it because I've got some other questions, but let's talk about Questiny itself. Tell us about the game. Like if it's gonna hit my table, what's it gonna look like? What kind of mechanics? Obviously, we know it's cooperative.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Okay. So Questiny is it's designed to be for me mostly, to be completely honest, which like
Okay.
I'm someone that likes to get into an adventure, to feel like I'm part of a story, to feel immersed in like in a world, but also not to get completely bogged down with too many rules. Or it's designed like if you can roll dice and you could read, you could play. Like if you've
Okay.
never, and actually this happened really recently, someone that had never played a board game, and they were like, yeah, right. I was like, what? Mind blown. And she was a bit worried because she said, "Man, is it gonna be too much?" And I was like, "Look, I promise you, within 10 minutes, like two rounds, you will understand what's going on, and you'll be in it. You won't be kind of like having that first game of like, like learning. It was like, no, you'll be in it." At the same time, however, it does slot into that kind of main event, if you were having, because it's a short game, it's going to be 1 to 2 hours depending on player count. So it's going to give you that feeling of like an epic adventure, but something you can jump into very quickly. Yeah.
And is it a campaign where you'll play it like over time, or is it condensed in one session?
Yeah. Someone described it recently as a one shot, and I think that's a really good way to
Okay.
describe it. It's kind of been designed so that your main objective, if you remember way back when I talked about the different realms, it's essentially you've got to get to the tower, you've got to get the artifact, and then you've got to get it back. Someone once also described it as they were like, "Huh, this is like Lord of the Rings meets Ocean's 11." I actually kind of love that because
Okay.
yeah, like so many games, you get to the end, you do the thing, you get the thing, the fanfares, "Brr," but
Yeah.
then what? Like
Right.
aren't these people going to chase you down? Aren't these like, have you really? So it's very much a there and back again two part adventure. But what I'm also doing at the moment is developing some what I'm calling side quests, because there was a short version of the game which wasn't really playing actually how I wanted it to. So I decided actually instead of that, there are going to be some scenarios, some short play scenarios that give you a good sort of feel, a lot of the same mechanics, but are just if you had like, oh man, I want to play, but we've only got an hour, to and that way you can expand on the world, the mechanics that way as well. So that's that's also coming.
Oh, I love that. That's
Mm,
cool.
mm,
So a couple of things observation I've had about these types of games before is so I think the one drawback to Hero Quest, talk about a game going way back, is you're going through the game, you're working together as a team, you kill all the monsters, you get to the room, you find the treasure or whatever. Now you got to get back, and it makes you roll your dice and move back but nothing's going to happen, right? So we
right.
kind of fudge that a little bit. We're like, yeah, we're done. Now if there are
Okay.
monsters still on the board, obviously we have to keep playing. But when they're all gone, it's like, do we
Oh
really
yeah.
have to? You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's the first piece. And what I think it sounds like Questiny is like, no, yeah, when you're done and you've achieved the goal, now you gotta get back,
Mm.
and you're going to encounter things, is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
love that.
if anything, you did the easy bit, now it's about to get real hard.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, that's cool because then you're invested in the journey home just as much as
absolutely.
you're invested in the journey or to get to the quest.
Oh, yeah, big time. I think even more so.
Yeah,
The first half of the game is really, building yourselves up, gathering as much resources, trying to build this plan to get there. And
yeah,
now it's like, and also, of course, you're opening up a tower. So, spoiler alert, something's in the tower. You're gonna
yeah,
unleash. So you got to be ready for that. And that's something that definitely gets easier in time, like you will have times where you're like, ah, okay, I see. Yeah, all right.
yeah.
If we were going to do this again, let's not do that. Or maybe we could try that. That could be, that could work. So yeah.
What's the player count?
1 to 4 players.
1 to 4.
One to
Okay.
four. And to be honest, that again is something that, so going back to me juggling, spinning all the plates, wearing all the hats,
Uh-huh.
it often comes up in playtesting. So people are, well, I say playtesting, it's more like demos now. There's still small little tweaks. I'm just ironing out the creases. But a lot of people ask almost straight away, could this be played competitively? So it's designed specifically with solo play in mind as well, actually, because you're playing against the game. But people are like, could someone not control the enemies if they wanted to?
Mhm.
Which I think the answer it would be yes. I haven't properly play tested it. I've got a few ideas already of how that could be a thing. And it's certainly something once if have the time to really put into testing that enough. So that could certainly then extend that player count if you wanted to, if you wanted to
To
have a
say
couple of
to
people.
5. You
Yeah,
can
to
move it to
five.
yeah.
Yeah, or even 6 or 7, because you're going to be playing, depending on how many hero characters you're playing with, will also depend on how many enemy characters you're playing with. So if you were playing at max amount
Oh,
of 4 heroes, you could have 3 people controlling enemies potentially. That could really increase things.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. So who
Oh.
knows? Maybe that will end up being uh, a version, that could
Mhm.
be explored as well. Because I like that. I like that as a designer. It's really interesting and kind of exciting actually to look at all the components that you have and go, okay, what else? What else can
There
it do?
are there are a lot of people here in my local game area that, absolutely love 1v all
Mm,
games.
mm.
I'm thinking about Descent, Star Wars Imperial Assault, these are the 2 that come to mind, there are a couple more, obviously, where they like being the one, right?
Yeah,
Right, like, it's like, I control all the monsters, I'm the storyteller, as it were, and it's y'all have to figure things out, and I can hear you table talk amongst yourselves, right? And, so they enjoy that, so it sounds like there's room for that in
yeah,
Questiny.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think as far as I'm thinking now, it shouldn't be too hard, but I realize that that's
Yeah,
probably not going to be the case, but because I mean, the butterfly effect with board game design is unreal,
absolutely.
unreal. Like,
Yes,
and
yes,
it really, oh man, the potential to catch you out is always there. You tweak one
yeah.
tiny little thing, and like 3 games
Mm.
later, this one card comes up in this certain situation that goes, oh, now that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah,
How do we
yeah,
navigate
yeah.
that?
So
In fact,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm thinking about Frosthaven, and the reason why I'm thinking about it, because as we're recording, tomorrow I'll be playing with my local game group in our Frosthaven campaign. And while it is a 1 to 4 player game, you could have a 5th player that manages all of the monsters, right? And reads the scenario setting, right? So that's what I'm thinking of, right? In Questiny, there's the 4 of us. We've got our heroes. We're going to go to the tower and someone's playing all the monsters. And it sounds like you even have a possibility where all the monsters could be different players could manage the different monsters, which I think is kind of interesting.
Mm. I mean, you could
Might even
also
it might even be innovative.
hmm, well, we can certainly take that one and run with it. I mean, because I kind of went even further than that and was like, could you then, would it be crazy to just switch to the dark side? Could there be a way
Right.
that you could only control the enemies and actually be playing against the heroes if you wanted to?
Kinda like defend the tower instead of
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Ooh,
So I
man.
kind of like, and actually now I'm thinking about it off the top of my head. This is the very first. This is live creative thinking and throwing it out there right now. But one maybe that's a thing for one of the scenarios. You know, one of
Mm,
the short play scenarios is like
yeah.
actually let's switch things up a bit. Now we're going to encourage you to embrace your dark side. This
Hey.
one you're going to play as the enemies. Let's see what
Yeah.
damage you could do. That could be fun. Could be
Yeah.
interesting.
Hey, so speaking of dark side, I'm not really sure if players walk away from a game of Questiny, remembering one feeling and one experience, what are you hoping the takeaway is from
Oh, that's such a good question. Such a good question. I guess it kind of in some ways feeds back to your very first question about my questioning and
Mhm.
the response that I gave you. I
Yeah.
really just want people to feel like they were on an epic adventure, like the stress of their life and the stuff that they were dealing with just went away for a minute and they were just in that world with their friends or even if they're playing solo, but they were just in it for a minute, and really had that, yeah, just that sense of like i I just went on an adventure, man. That was sick,
Okay, I dig that. I totally dig that. So, Kickstarter can be a wild ride and is a lot of work. What is it that excites you the most about launching this game?
Firstly, to say you're absolutely right. It's already a wild ride. And
Yeah,
it's a wild ride because I'm not only aware of me and my journey in this, but like I said, since being part of this design group, I'm constantly watching people, either in it or just about to, or on the other side. So I'm at sometimes painfully aware of the ups, downs, left, rights, upside downs, inside out. But so I'd say what excites me the most about that process. So that was what you,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I think being able to satisfy the people, the poor people, but the great people that have already followed this for a long time, because I kind of like I went pretty public with things quite early on and started to build a following and be quite, I've always liked that. I wanted to be part of the community. I wanted to reach out to people, but I'm well aware that there are some people that have, they've been waiting a long time, and bless them, they will come see me usually at the UK Games Expo and be like, what, where is it? In fact, I can see it now, so I think the most satisfying thing will really be that feeling of knowing that those people out there that followed it for so long have finally got it in their hands and can just rip it open and just get into it. That would be, yeah, that would be awesome.
So, on the flip side, now be honest, what terrifies you about this project?
Absolutely everything. That was very easy, to be honest, wasn't it?
Okay, yeah.
Let's see if I can be a bit more specific though. I mean, firstly, just the general concept of it, right? The
Yeah.
concept of like all of that work, all of those unknowns, all of those hurdles along the way, to eventually just click a little button that says launch and effectively just hope for the best, because there's so much information out there and so many numbers and like all of these guides, and but eventually you've just got to press that button and sink or swim and just hope for the best. So that does terrify me, and I don't know what I'm going to do that day, but yeah, it's going to have to be something because
You're gonna start your day with an exercise, you're gonna follow it up with meditation, you're gonna make sure you drink a lot of water, when the time comes, you're gonna click launch.
Yeah.
Easy, easy peasy. See, I got you. You're done. Look at that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. I feel better already. Let's do
Yeah,
it. Let's do it. Where's
yeah,
that
do
button?
it.
Where's that?
Just say yes. Say yes to launch. Say yes to Questiny. So you mentioned UKGE, which you're going to be there next week, right?
Yep.
Next week. Next
Yep.
week. Yeah.
Yep.
So what's on your agenda? What should people expect when they see you? Are you going to have a booth or a table? I don't
Yep.
know
I'll
because
be.
I've never been there, so I don't know the layout. But
Oh, you never been to the UK Games Expo? Oh
no,
man. Oh man. I mean,
yeah,
obviously a long way for you.
right,
It's wild. It's wild, man. It's huge. But it's so exciting. It's the big event, you know. Like,
yeah,
everyone's looking forward to it. I feel the same. I feel the first couple of years I was really like, it was mind blowing, and I felt like so much imposter syndrome, and was like, who am I? I'm just a tiny fish in this huge big world. But now I love it. I really look forward to it. It's awesome to just catch up with friends, meet new people. So this year we're going to be running. I'll be there. Just back to back to back to back demo. So apologies in advance. If you see me on Sunday, I will be probably a grey version of myself. In fact, I remember last year, the final demo of the whole weekend, I just opened with, "I'm sorry." And they were just like, "It's fine." But this year we're going to be doing something slightly different, actually,
oh,
because, yeah. So in the
okay,
previous years, because again, even this, it's like, it's a really hard thing to, especially with a game like Questiny, because it's a longer game. So you're like, what do you do? What do you do? Do I want to give people just a short taste of it, and try to see as many people and get as many people excited about it as possible? Which, to be honest, I probably should have done previously. But I went for a slightly different approach where I was like, no, you know what? I would rather give people a longer sit down, give them a real feel for the game, and also a bit of time to sit with the creator, you know, because like there's not many things. We're really, really lucky in this industry that you can actually do that. Like, that's rare. That rarely happens with most things. Most of the time you don't even know what people look like, you know. So to sit down with them and have that moment is, I think people really enjoy that, and I certainly enjoy sharing that with people as well. So, but this year we are going to be doing it slightly differently. So these short play scenarios that I mentioned before, this is what we're actually going to be starting to test some of those. So, because
okay,
that will kind of tick both of those boxes. It's not like
yeah,
a little 10-minute, you know, teaser taster. It'll be a
yeah,
little bit more meaty. It will give you an idea, but we're also just not going to cut it off, you know, and just go, oh, just as you were getting into that, time's up, you know. You'll have something, an objective to complete, that will, but you will also have a time zone as well. So you'll have that feeling of like a complete experience, and that means hopefully we will also be able to meet more people and try
right,
to really push to get people excited. That's what it's
yeah.
all about. So,
So let me posit this as a possibility for you, and you have 1 week to prepare for this if you like this idea. Let's call it Dark Side Sunday.
Oh, I
And
like where you're going with it.
Sunday is the day where you let players play as the monsters defending the ivory tower, and you can try it out.
You, you, sir, you, sir, are a genius. I
Well,
mean,
I have my moments.
you do, you do, and this was one of them, man. Wow. I mean, I love that. I feel a little bit sorry for any of those like pure of heart, you know, heroes that are just like, oh, what? I came
Yeah,
here to be the hero, man. And it's like, well, you
yeah.
are the hero of the shadows, you know, like,
Mhm.
come on, embrace your dark
Yeah.
side.
There you
I like
go.
that. I like
Right?
that. That
I
feels,
mean, yeah, yeah.
yeah, we could give that a try.
I think you could do that. Yeah, and if you do that, you've gotta come back and tell us how it went.
Of
Yeah,
course, of
that
course.
would be
I'll be like,
awesome.
thanks so much, man. That was so awesome. It didn't work, but it was a great experience all the same. No, I think that would be sick, man. People
Right?
could get really into that. Because what I also do is like, which is a funny little thing that really seemed to like stick with people. Because also what I do as well is experience design. So that's kind of like what has been the umbrella of all of the things that I've kind of done for the last 20 years. And one of the small things that I did with that was I put people in cloaks. So I have these cloaks that I bring along, and
Nice.
I ask people at the beginning, like this isn't, you don't have to, but if you feel you want to, you can put a cloak on. And honestly, man, people love that. So I'm imagining on the Sunday, it's just that difference of like the hood gets a little bit lower, and the hands come out like this, and everything gets a bit lower. So the ingredients are already there.
I'm gonna have to try to print up like a Meeple to Meeple logo or something, and you can put, as inspired by Meeple to Meeple or something
Yeah,
out on the
absolutely,
booth so people know that Dark Side Sunday.
dude.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's all you. It's
all
all
right.
you.
So, guys, if you're going to UKG and you want to wait, you've got to wait for Sunday and go check out Questiny. Hey, what booth number are you going to be at? You know that, right?
I am 2383.
2383.
2383, and that's really hard to remember because I've seemed to have always been given like a similar combination of those exact numbers, but I'm almost certain that that is correct. Yes, two, three,
383.
two, 2383. Yeah, I'm double.
I
I'm
got
I'm
it.
doubting myself now. We'll check it. We'll
If
check
I
it and
can
make
catch
sure
a
it's right.
if I can catch a flight to Birmingham and get a badge to UKG, I know where to find you.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
anybody,
yeah, yeah.
anybody will be fine. All right, so here we go. Here's the last two questions are the hardest. They're gonna be we're gonna work your brain here, right? He
Okay,
says
save the best till last.
sarcastically. If Questiny had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh man. Okay. Actually, that's a really easy question to answer because
Okay.
there's a sick song called Wizard by Castle Rat, who are just like
Okay.
incredible, incredible band. And that came like there was a music video. It just suddenly popped up out of nowhere, and it was filmed kind of to look like an 80s. And I was like, what the hell is this? How the hell have I missed this? And that became sort of in a bit of an internal and before I switched my Instagram over to a business account where you could just like you could use tracks, so that kind of was put on a few videos, and even other people started to be like, dude, this is the vibe, this is the vibe.
Okay.
So thank you to Castle Rat, that, and also their album's great, so check it
Okay.
out. They are sick.
There
And
you
that song
go.
in particular, just I think it just really encapsulates the thing.
Yeah. So a few months ago, I had Lee from Molinarius Games on
Oh,
talking about his game Time Troopers, and he did something really unique. He has an actual soundtrack to go along with the game you're playing.
yeah,
Does Questiny have a soundtrack, or are you planning on a soundtrack? Because just talking to you, you seem like the kind of guy who, music is part of your life, and you would want a soundtrack for this game.
100%. Yeah, because I do that with any game. Any game, I'm always trying to like, okay, what track are we having? How do we want the
Yeah.
music? How do we, are we getting dressed up? Like what are we? Let's
Yeah.
get into this. So there is a Spotify playlist. I started one a long time ago, and then kind of shelved it for a while. Again, spinning the, but
Sure.
that's definitely, yeah. At the very least, there'll be a curated kind of playlist. But ultimately, I would love if we were able to actually bring a musician on board and create something specifically for it. That would be amazing. Because I think like, yeah,
Well, you
and
need
Time
to you
Trooper,
need to reach out to Lee because he could probably
yeah, 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 yeah,
point you in a direction there. So
yeah. When I heard about that he was doing that, I was just like, yes,
yeah,
that, yeah. Like it
yeah,
just that's gonna always take something to the next level
yep.
for sure. So yeah.
So here's the big question, the last question: what does success look like for you when this campaign wraps up?
Oh, that is a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna split that into two mini answers.
No, you don't get to do that. You did that
Okay, all
earlier.
right, all right. Yeah, I'm just like, no, I'm railroading this. I'm like, I'm taking charge. All right, let me pick one of those then.
No, you go ahead. You answer this in any way you want. I just thought it was
Okay.
funny that you were trying to split all my questions.
I'm like, that's a really great question. I guess that's kind of a little glimpse into the inside of my mind, you know,
Yeah.
that whole thing about the two wolves. Mine is just like too many ideas, too many brains all happening at once. So I straight away go split. But I think that I would, first of all, I mentioned the other games that I've been developing as well. So I would love for this to do well enough to be able to move forward with some of those as well. Or actually, to be honest, if everything went completely balls up, and I decided, you know, didn't work out for whatever reason, that's actually also okay. And I would switch gears in my mind to be like, okay, well, this is just a hobby. I still have fun making these games. I still have fun showing them to people. I still have fun developing them. I still have fun playing them. So in some ways, it kind of feels like, well, you know, it's a win-win. Worst case scenario, you come away with one hell of a journey, a bunch of lessons, and a hobby, you know, which is not a bad thing. But the other one I was gonna say was, and I've always had this in the back of my mind, and it's just like someone kind of a bit of a Jumanji moment of like someone without the like everything changing and going wild, but like someone just discovering a copy of it somewhere, you know, like in someone's attic or tucked
Yeah.
away in a charity shop somewhere, or like someone just finds it completely out of the blue, doesn't know what it is, they weren't looking for it, and they're just like, whoa, what is this? You know, they open it up and they get to have this experience of just like, wow, you know, at some point in time, someone put everything into this, and I get to connect with that person through this. That's cool, you know, because I think that's something that's really nice about creating physical things is like you're also creating a bit of a legacy thing, right?
Yeah,
These things could outlive us. So,
it could.
yeah, so anyone could kind of pick up one of those at any point, and I just really like the idea of that. I find that just a nice story, you know, that puts
Yeah.
a smile on my face.
Okay. Well, let's hope both of those things happen, right? Yes.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of both and,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
we
both
we want them
and.
both
Oh
and.
yeah, I like that.
Well, yeah. So, well, thank you so much, Leon, for sharing your story with me. I appreciate it. I'm glad we were able to do this. Uh, Tell everyone where they can find you on all the socials. Give us a little information on the Kickstarter launch. When will that be? And remind everyone what booth at UKGE you will be at.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me on for this chat. It's been really,
Absolutely.
really awesome. I was really looking forward to it, and it's definitely lived up to the hype that I had for it. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
You can find me on Instagram, first of all. Questiny Board Game is the handle. QuestinyBoardGame.com is the website. That's got a lot more information on there now, so you can take a little bit more of a deep dive into the experience, what it is. There's some tutorial videos on there as well, so you can kind of get a feel. And I'll be adding to that all the time. And then Kickstarter, I've just announced last week actually, after because there's already been a couple of pushbacks, which were tough, but 1st of September, that is when we are all in. Like, no more this, no more that. 1st of September, it's happening. So that's yeah.
Yeah.
If you like the look of it or you like the sound of it, and certainly, of course, if you think I'm all over this and I want it, that's the place to go to sign up to the
Yeah.
pre-launch. That would be super, super helpful. Or the email lists. Either way,
Yeah.
it's good.
And if you're going to be at UKGE next week, go to booth 2383.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Booth
Look at that.
2383. Check out
Oh.
Questiny. And if you get to the booth, ask Leon to do Dark Side Sunday. Yes. And then message me about how great Dark Side Sunday was if you get to experience that. Because
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
We wanna know. We wanna know. Leon, thank you so much. Guys, everyone, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. As always, here's the question this week. What is your favorite adventure game / dungeon crawler and your favorite character you enjoy? Put that in the comments below. You know, I love to hear from you. And as always, be kind to each other. And let's play more games.
Yeah.